Okay, guys. So somebody reached out to me and was like, Milton, I do not understand the procedure of moving abroad. I understand, yeah. But the first thing you need to know is that if you do not do your own research, you would find it very difficult to immigrate abroad. So the first thing you need to do is research. Now, we are going to be talking about how you can study in Malta because I realize many of us we still don't understand this process. But before we talk about how you can study in Malta, everything, admissions, insurance, proof of funds, how you can apply for visa, I want to tell you that there is something as an international student you should know. You should always remember you need money when you are moving to a new country. Moving to a new country is not going to be easy. So the first thing you need to do for yourself is to make sure when you get into that country, you are going to be comfortable. And how are you going to be comfortable in that particular country you are moving to? You need to first of all have money. Money is very important, and also have a device that is connected. I used to tell people that you do not need anybody when going to a new country, in as much as you know what you are doing. You have a smartphone that is connected to internet and you have money in your pocket. Remember, you are not just going to this country to go and start working. You need to first of all get some documents ready, like your residence permit, because definitely in most countries in Europe, most of the time you are going to get what is called a visa. Now, that is not the document you have to use in that particular country. You need what is called a residence permit. Okay, what we usually call temporary residence permit or student permit. That is what you need to be legal in that particular country. And in this case, you need money to do that document. In North Cyprus, when I left North Cyprus, it used to be around 400 Turkish lira. In other countries, it is different, right? But in Malta, you need money for that to get the residence permit done. Remember, in some countries, buses are free for students, but in some, it is not free. So you need to buy a bus card that will be transporting you per month. Okay, you need money for that, and you are going to do out of this money that you use to travel. Then you also need accommodation. Within the first few days that you enter into any particular country, you need a place, a shelter to put your head. And if you do not have money in your pocket, it's going to be difficult for you. You need what is called the health screening, because for you to get your health insurance, you need to do screening. And for some countries, you need to do particular tests. You have to pay for it. So you always need to have money on you when you are about to travel abroad. Don't just say, oh, I have to go in there, do part-time jobs, work to take care of myself. No, you are going to work later. But in this case, have money on you before you move. Now, coming back to Malta, if you want to study in Malta, it is not that tedious. If Malta is a place you've considered to go, then you have to start by doing your research. If you check Malta very well, you will see that they have a lot of universities. Common ones include the University of Malta, and you also need to understand that not all of them offer courses in the sciences. The University of Malta has courses in both sciences, arts, or any other field. Some other universities do not have. They only have business and management courses. Examples include Global College Malta, some like MCAST. MCAST is the management school in Malta. You have a couple of them. There are many. I will not be listing them because there is a video on this channel talking about all of this. So when you have identified a university, then it is now time to apply. But you should also remember that in Malta, some schools have 4 intake, others 3 intake, others 2 intake. For example, Global College Malta has 4 intakes. This means there is September intake, there is December intake, there is February, March intake, and probably there is April, June. Then also understand that in Malta, you can study a diploma program. When I say diploma, I mean top up, right? You can study bachelor's, you can study master's, and it now depends on the school in which you want to go to. Global College Malta has such programs like diploma programs that you can do top up. So in this case, you are going to be using your HND to apply, but you cannot use HND to apply for a master's degree. Then also to apply for bachelor's, you just need your WAEC. This is now for the requirements. Then if you want to apply for PhD, some schools in Malta has PhD programs. You are going to be using your master's degree as well. I hope you understand. Then also understand that tuition fee for these courses vary. For a typical master's in Malta, I'm not talking about Austria. Yeah, I'm talking about Malta. You need to pay around 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 euros per month. Not per month, but per year. Then for maybe programs like degree programs, you will pay like 6 to 7,000. It depends. Some might charge you 5.5, like 5,500 euros. That's the 5.5 I'm talking about. Then diplomas, you can also pay around 6.5, right? So it also depends on so many factors: the program you want to study, the school, and its location. So always do your research well in order to know all of this. Let's go into the details, like the application process detailedly. We have talked about the requirements. There are other requirements like maybe motivation letter, reference letters, and application fee. Okay, that one is not really that important, but you should understand that after you apply, there is always an interview. Then maybe when after the interview you are going to get an admissions, then you now move to the visa stage. But there is something you also need to remember, that when you are applying for visa, proof of funds is very important. I want to take my time to explain this so that at the end of the day you can do what is correct. Now, when you are applying for schools in Malta, always remember the tracking code that will be given to you by VFS Global. Remember, all documents must be present. The school is going to give you a list of all the documents. Pay attention to insurance. Pay attention to flight bookings. Pay attention to proof of funds. These are things that have to be within the documents given to you. How much is your proof of funds? Proof of funds to study in Malta is 11,000 euros. Now, this is in the case when you've paid your first tuition fee. You have to pay complete money for first year. You are not paying part. Just very few schools in Malta will ask you to pay part. Not all of them, but I think if they want you to pay part, they are going to inform you. When you pay this, you have to supply proof of funds for 6 months. Now, when they say proof of funds for 6 months, it doesn't mean that you have to gather all the money within 6 months. No, you have to build the account slowly. Like you put money, you withdraw money, you put money, like an active account. You understand? Because some people's account are very dormant. So you have to make sure the account is active, because that's what they are going to check, not the actual figure in the account. Not the actual figure. They are going to check if the account has been active, right? If money has been coming in or moving out. So they know that this bank statement is coming from a good account. You can sponsor yourself in Malta. In another video on this channel, if you check very well, you are going to see where I said if you are sponsoring yourself, of course you have to show evidence of where you are getting the money from, right? Because the Malta government do not want people who do money laundering or maybe thieves who get involved in shady things and then use the money to study in Malta. No, not just the government, but other countries also. You need to show evidence of how you are getting your money and a couple of things. Now remember, in the case you are not sponsoring yourself, you can also use a sponsor, right? Make sure the sponsor give you an affidavit of support and also give you personal information about him, like passport, identity card, driver's license, and stuff. But remember, if the sponsor or if the person is also married, they are going to check if the money in his account is good to take care of the family members he has together with your academics. So you also always need to put this into consideration before looking at this 11,000 euros. Now understand that when it comes to health insurance, I'm just touching petty sections of visa application. When it comes to health insurance, they are going to tell you to pay for 121 days. But I remember advising someone few days back, and I'm going to give you guys the same. When you are paying, do not pay 121 days. Take for 1 year, so that it can also help you to apply for your residence permit when you get into Malta. I hope you understand. So pay for 1 year. Now also remember, when it comes to accommodation, you cannot book a house or you cannot get a house when you are staying in your home country. No. You have to get a hotel for 6 months. Then when you move to Malta, you now look for your accommodation, because the contract from that accommodation is what you need and some other documents to get your residence permit intact. So you always need to know these things. They are so important, guys. I'm just here to explain these little things to you so you put them into practice, because many people do not know. Now, for my people in Nigeria, if you do not have the embassy in your home country, then your school is going to tell you how you are going to go about it. But for those who are in Nigeria, you have to use VFS Global. Okay, your school will give you all the documents you need for visa application, then guide you. After you do the payment, they confirm, and now you can submit the documents. They will still be the one to book appointment for you via VFS. And on that appointment day, you go and give your documents. Then after that, they will collect your passport and send to Malta. Then it's only after the processing if you know if your visa has been granted or not. But in this case, you are going to track it. It takes time, like 2 months, 3 months, but it takes time. But at the end of the day, it can also give you what you want. Now, a couple of people have gotten rejections in the past. And I want to say that there is no visa where there is no rejection. Even if it's 90%, the remaining 10% can still be rejected. So always know this. But remember, one thing that is going to hold your visa application solid and help you or guide you to get the visa as easy as possible is the documentation you provide. Now, take for example, if they say pay a hotel for 6 months, you go and you book for 3 months, that's already a problem. If they say maybe pay insurance for maybe 121 days, and like I advise you take for 1 year, instead of you would pay for 121 days or even more, you went and you pay for maybe 2 weeks. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense, right? Then instead of you to maybe negotiate with maybe a flight ticket or your agency to show a good result, you went and you brought maybe something fake. It doesn't correspond. And in most other cases, people are rejected because of proof of funds. Some people don't understand what they need to supply for proof of funds, which is where a couple of problems will arise. So please always put all these things into consideration. It's so important. I know many people do not know about this, but please do your research well. And if you need an appointment with me, one-on-one call with me, please book from the video description box or ask me on Facebook. I will give you the mobile details, especially for Cameroonians, for you to book a call. Then I call you and we talk. Okay, I've guided people and I'm still doing that. If you want to talk to me privately, let me know. If you have a question, drop it in the comment section. I'll always try my best when I'm free to reply. Okay, don't worry, I will do my best. Then also understand that when it comes to Malta, there are some job types that you may get. There are others that you may not get as a student. And now, what are some of the examples of these jobs that you can get as an international student? Now, let me say something about this job issue. Or before we talk about the job issue more, let me tell you that, guys, if you are moving abroad using a student visa, or if you went abroad as a student, please endeavor to study, because failing to study, it means you are inviting the authorities to cancel your permit. And remember, I have always said that if you do not want to be illegal, please try to be legal, which means that if you go to school, if you went in as a student, you must go to school. Okay, now I understand most of us, we are looking for money. Maybe we want to better our lives, or maybe we want to maybe do 1 or 2 within the family. But it's always very important for you to understand that if you do not go to school, you lose your permit. Now, they are going to inform you. You may be asking yourself, how are they going to know I don't go to school? Remember, there is something called registration on campus. When you go into the country, you have to go to school and register for courses. Then when you finish, you also need to do sign out of the school in order to collect your certificate and equally prove that you are not owing the school anything. So with these 2 things, if you are not going to school in countries like Malta and other places, in advanced countries, you are going to be monitored. And when you are monitored, they will issue you information to make you know that you are not going to school. And if you continue, you may lose your status. And if you lose your status, you cannot apply for any other visa in any embassy in that particular country to go elsewhere. And again, you may face a lot of things. You understand, like maybe you may be facing deportation at this stage. So please, you have to put all this into consideration. It's so important. Then also understand that as an international student in Malta, you are going to work 20 hours a week. Then during holidays, you are going to work full time. So this is enough time for you to plan as an international student. Accommodation, remember I said it will be good for you to go in before you get accommodation. Now, in the case where you do not want to maybe book an accommodation, you can discuss with your school. If they have accommodations to give you, why not? They are going to give you, and in this case they may ask you some deposit, but it's possible that your school can arrange accommodation for you. But if they are not arranging, then you do it yourself. Now, for accommodation types, you may get studio apartments, which are somehow a bit expensive, and you can equally get shared apartments, which are sometimes you may spend 350, 400, or you may get some types of accommodation where you share the bed spaces with people, maybe with 250, 270, 300, you are good to go, right? So if you have more money, then you go for what you really want comfort. The higher the money, the more comfort you are going to get, right? Like if you get your own accommodation, you are good to go, and but the money is enough or maybe too much, so you have to think about it. Not really too much, but again, it is about comfort. Remember, like I said, most schools will give you admissions, and sometimes the visa may be difficult to get. Others may not give you admissions, and probably you may not get visa. Others may give you admission and the visa rate is high. So always do your research properly to actually understand the things that you want to do when it comes to moving to Malta as an international student. It's so important. Then for the jobs, remember, if you are a highly skilled professional, you may get in-demand jobs. Every country has in-demand jobs, and the in-demand jobs around the world now are the digital jobs, and equally jobs in the healthcare, nurses, and all the rest. But petty jobs like restaurant jobs, maybe delivery jobs, are also those type of jobs international students can get. So you should focus more on this. And remember, unlike any other country, it is also very important for you to know where you are going to. Remember, in Europe, you are the father, you are your mother, you are your brother or sister. Nobody is your friend. Nothing is free. So you have to prepare your mind. Like I said, make sure you carry enough money so that you can sort out your payment, sort out your necessary papers, pay accommodation, settle down. Then you start their lectures before you start looking for the part-time job. It's as easy as ABC. I think this way you are in a good position if you know everything, and make sure you do more research as well. I hope you enjoy this. Till we meet again in another one. Bye bye.